Have you ever thought about how you have like 97 thoughts going on in your head at all time and you just, they come in and out and you forget them? Well, now I have somebody that I can send those thoughts to the second they come in, and it gets put on a to-do list, and then it gets brought back up in our like weekly meeting so that nothing is getting forgotten. Nothing is falling through the cracks. On today's episode, I want to tell y'all about something that I put off for way too long, and maybe you are putting this off for too long as well. We're going to be talking about hiring support in your business, and the position that I put off for so long was hiring an executive/personal assistant for my business. And we're going to really dive into all of it. I actually have my assistant, Sam, sitting across from me today. And we are going to dive into all of y'all's burning questions about what she does for me and how often she's in person and how do I pay her and what does she do on a daily basis, and does it feel weird for me to accept support? Because I think that a lot of people have a lot of resistance to support because they feel like they should be doing everything themselves. And if they aren't doing everything themselves, that actually somehow makes them less worthy or less valuable as a human being. And so, as always, we're going to tie this back to your nervous system. So I have Samantha Glass here with me today. Welcome, Sam.
Yeah.
Y'all, Sam is like not in front of the camera girl. Like she's more of a behind the scenes girl. So we're stretching her today. We're pushing her out of her comfort zone. I was like, we're just going to lean in. We're going to answer the questions people have been asking. I get questions in my DMs all the time because people see Sam in the background of my videos and at my dining room table, and she comes more often during challenge week, and she travels with me, and it's been, February, March, 4 months. So Sam's been working for me for about 4 months at this point of us recording this episode, and I honestly can't imagine my life without her at this point. But it did take me a long time, so I want to dive into that. But Sam, before we do that, I want you to tell the audience a little bit more about who you are, what you were doing before this. What is your background? Did you go to college? Because I think a lot of people think that this position is just like a task rabbit. It's just a helper. And something that I love about Sam is that she takes a lot of initiative. I don't have to micromanage her. And I think that is because I hired for a skill set that maybe she's like a little even overqualified for the position. And I was willing to pay for that to get the right person in the job, in the position. So, Sam, who are you? What's your background?
Yeah. So I did go to college.
Yeah.
I do have a degree. Mm-hmm. I got a bachelor's degree in communications from Texas A&M and graduated in 2023, and then went straight into corporate world. So I am a corporate dropout, as we say over here.
Yeah, same.
But I was in the corporate space for about 2 years. So had a little bit of experience behind me. And I think that experience was really good and set me up well for this job, because I feel like it instilled a lot of like organization skills and like the discipline and the grit, I feel like was kind of like already in me from that corporate experience.
Yeah.
And then I was ready for a change and ready to leave corporate. And so I ended up here. But I would say I wasn't like entry level because I did have experience behind me, but I was still early on in my career.
Yeah.
So because I graduated 3 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Your work ethic, I think from that position was already really instilled, because you were used to going into an office setting from, 8 to 5 every single day.
Yeah.
And it was like more of an intense environment and like more high pressure environment. And so going from that to this, while this is not as high pressure of a job environment, we definitely have our weeks that feel more intense than others. It's been a cool transition to see Sam really like own this role and really own the projects that we give her. And I feel like, because our company is growing and scaling, there is a lot of opportunity to grow. And so that was kind of one of the ways that I positioned Sam when she came, was like, hey, like we're just at the beginning of hiring for different positions. And so there could be, a long runway ahead for where you go next after this. But I just needed more hands on the ground. So let me just tell y'all a little bit about like where I was whenever I realized that maybe I did need additional support. So we've done an episode with Lana, our director of operations. Lana's been with me for over 5 years, and Lana has kind of been that role of like jack of all trades. She's client success. She's client retention, she's operations, she's admin, she's doing all the things. She has her hands in every basket. She was at the point where she needed more support, and she needed to pass off some of the more entry-level tasks that were more admin type things, scheduling posts, scheduling emails, a lot of the challenge follow-up, like things that were just kind of taking a lot of time, but she needed to be spending her time on more strategic things. And at the same time, I was feeling like I needed more support in my daily life with personal things, but also with just like, we'll dive into some examples of things that Sam does for me. But, like for example, last week, I had a 30-minute Voxer session with one of my coaches, and we were back and forth voice memos for 30 minutes. Well, everything that was in that Voxer session was things that my team needed to go do and execute on. And so as immediately after the call, Sam was at my house. I walked in and I was like, hey, I need you to take the transcription from all these voice messages, put it in AI, get us basically create all the tasks for the team, put it in Slack, make sure everybody has their marching orders, because we were going to have a content day, which is today at the recording of this episode. And I was like, we needed certain things to record for a funnel that we were creating and website videos and all these things. And so Lana, who's creating kind of the funnel, she needed some tasks to do. And then also Emily, our creative director, she needed her tasks to do. And so instead of me communicating that entire conversation and me re-listening to all the voice memos and making to-do lists, I was able to pass that to Sam, who is being trained in AI right now. That's one of the things that she's doing at the company, is we invested in an AI program. And so she is actually doing the AI program and kind of implementing that for the company and communicating that to everybody at the company. And that's not necessarily something that an executive assistant would do. I would just say that where we are right now, Sam is kind of just doing whatever we need her to do at this point. And I think it's cool because the AI thing is not really an entry level thing. You kind of have to have some knowledge of how business works and the flow of our workflow and the different components of the business. And so Sam's been able to take that on, which has been immensely helpful because we needed that. But I don't have time to sit on a call for 90 minutes. It's pretty intense, the work behind the AI course. Yeah. So Sam's doing that right now. But we were just in this place where Lana needed more support. I needed more support. And so I was like, I kind of feel like I need this quasi executive assistant. I was like, do I need a VA? But I was like, I really feel like I want somebody in person. And then at that point, one of my colleagues, I guess, somebody that I work with, who actually is a client of mine, she had recently hired an executive assistant. And I was getting to hear all of the things that she was doing for her and how she was just keeping her schedule organized. And a lot of people don't know this about me, but I am type B, Z, whatever. I'm not type A. I'm not organized by nature. And I've always relied on other people to keep me organized. And there was things in my life that were weighing on me and my cognitive load, majorly. So I knew that I needed somebody to help keep me organized in my day-to-day life. As far as my calendar, I never had one central calendar system that I used for my appointments, my kids' schedules, when I need to sign up for the church lesson and when we need to make reservations for the dinner on vacation, just those things. And it's have you ever thought about how you have 97 thoughts going on in your head at all time and you just, they come in and out and you forget them? Well, now I have somebody that I can send those thoughts to the second they come in, and it gets put on a to-do list, and then it gets brought back up in our weekly meeting so that nothing is getting forgotten. Nothing is falling through the cracks. And this could look like anything from scheduling movers. We're about to move. It's a whole nother episode. It could look like scheduling, like I said, reservations. It could look like scheduling doctor's appointments for the kids. It could look like, implementing the AI course for the team. It is anything and everything that we need on a daily basis. And the cognitive load that I don't think women realize. Well, we realize you carry it, but you just think that's how it should be. And I have so much freed up brain space to then go do what I'm really good at, which is making the company money. And so whenever you're hiring someone, you should always be thinking, how is this going to create revenue? And so while Sam's not doing revenue producing activities, she is doing activities that make it easier for me to do my job and go make the company more money. I've been able to take way more sales calls than I've ever had in the past because I have so much more space on my calendar. I'm not filling all that space with all the admin tasks. So that's been really huge. It's and even putting the calendar spots on my calendar so that we have sales call availability for when people want to schedule with me. Sam's in charge of that. And I can just reach out to her. We have like a messaging thread where I'm communicating what I need at any given time. And Sam is so good at making sure nothing falls through the cracks. Like I always tell her that. I'm like, there's things that I'll just randomly say in passing and like 2 weeks will pass by and I'll be like, oh, I bet Sam forgot that. And then in our next meeting, she brings it up and I'm like, oh, you didn't forget that. She just is very organized, very structured. She keeps me on task. Y'all, if anything, one of the best things about having an assistant is if you work from home, you know that there are times where you like literally have so much to do on your to-do list, but you just don't want to sit down and do it. And so you distract yourself and you're like, oh, I'm going to go like do laundry, or I'm going to go make my bed, or let me go hang these clothes up in my closet or whatever. And so Sam, when she's here in person, which Sam typically comes in person 2 days a week, sometimes a third day, depending on the week. And she will be like, Emily, after this call, we need to sit down for 30 minutes and I have a list to go through. And so it's literally like an accountability buddy.
Yeah.
It like keeps me accountable to sitting down and knocking out these tasks that I would put off and procrastinate on for weeks because it just feels like boring or like not something I want to spend my time doing, or I want to do something else or whatever that looks like. So that's been huge because I just feel like we're not behind on stuff because you sit me down and you like, she's like, it was my boss. She's like, you're going to come sit here and we're going to go through this list, and it's scheduling appointments ahead of time. And it's like, y'all, it's these tasks that might seem menial, but when you have them scheduled out for like a long time, it just makes the flow of the week feel so much better. It gives me stuff to look forward to during the week, which makes my week feel smoother.
Yeah.
It gives me that white space. I can look at my calendar like, okay, what do I have each day? I mean, that's been huge, just knowing each day. Another thing Sam does for me every day, which I absolutely love, is she sends me an email every single morning with my schedule of the day and links to every individual call. If I have a discovery call or like a sales call with a potential client, she'll link the notes about that client right there in the email. So I'm not going from platform to platform looking for where's the Zoom link? Because, sometimes it's my Zoom link. Sometimes it's somebody else's Zoom link they gave me. Sometimes, it might be somebody on my sales team who has talked to this person and I'm picking up the conversation on the call. So having that each day has kept me so organized. I know we're going to do a whole episode on like the fact that we're moving, but like through a move, like Sam has been able to be instrumental in, scheduling packers, scheduling the loaders, scheduling the pods, really keeping me on track with my weekly calendar. Like she knows we don't want to put that on that day because that's going to be too much for Emily. Like she has learned how I like to work and operate, which has been so good. So, okay. So I want you to talk a little bit, Sam, about, so you're here physically with me like 2 to 3 days a week, and then you're working from home on the other day. What do you feel like is the difference between those two kinds of days?
Yeah, I feel like my in-person days are a lot heavier personal assistant things. So my job title's personal assistant and executive assistant. So I do a mix of like things for Emily's life plus the business. So I feel like in-person days are very heavy personal. I run the errands, I do the returns, I'm I'm looking at her pantry to order groceries for the next week, like different things like that around the house. I feel like I'm like
communicating with the nanny, like
communicating with the nanny.
That's super helpful. Like when I'm on call and I'm on like literally 3 back-to-back calls. Yeah. And like I can't look at my phone on those calls because I'm leading the calls. Yeah. Like the nanny has Sam's number and she's texting Sam being like, do you know where's the swim teacher? Like, do you have the swim teacher's number? Do you have the swim teacher's not here? She didn't show up. Or like, do you have Emily's credit card? Like, I need to buy something. Like that kind of stuff is just having that extra person is really helpful.
Or even like other moms trying to organize play dates and she's like, just take my phone while I'm on this call and like text her.
Like other moms will be trying to text me like pick up one of my kids for a play date. And I'm like, I'm going to be on these calls for 3 hours. So really like she makes it possible. So the end of my work day, not all of my work days are heavy call days, but sometimes they are. And she makes it possible so that 4 p.m. whenever I'm done with all my calls, or 2 p.m., whatever time it is, I'm not looking at my phone to 100 missed messages and all these missed opportunities and people who needed me that couldn't get in touch with me. And so Sam just has my phone and is able to do that. I mean, ordering Amazon stuff. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, pantry organization, working with my mom. My
Yeah.
mom has started helping us at our house doing like house manager type stuff. And, you know, she supports us at our events. My mom does whenever we do retreats and whatnot. So she's kind of helping me and on the home front on a daily basis for an hour or two. And so Sam's kind of communicating with her, like if my mom needs to order something for one of the kids or whatever, they're kind of communicating. So it's just taking that, again, that cognitive load, like out of my brain. And Sam's like that extra person. So she really knows like the ins and outs of all parts of my life. Yeah. Literally. Like, I feel like there's like nothing you don't know. And so that's been a lot of trust of like, hey, like, don't judge me. Like, yes, I want to get a massage every week. I'm getting my nails and toes done every 3 weeks. I get a blowout every single week. Like, I'm, you know, what I say, like, high maintenance, but also I don't even view it as high maintenance. I'm just like, I just know what I need to do to function the right way. And so Sam's making sure all those appointments are made and that nothing on my calendar is crossing. And, you know, all the shopping that I do, like she's making all the returns and seeing all the packages come in, and she sees like who I really am and how I operate on a daily basis, like to the core. And when someone is like in your life and in your personal space that much, you really have to be able to like be who you really are and not be worried that like they're judging you. What do you feel like? How do you feel like that dynamic has it been interesting to like learn?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what I'd say is I feel like it's been fun to like step into someone else's life that like lives a life so different than me, because we're in different life stages that I feel like I've just like learned a lot. And honestly, it's been fun. But I do feel like at first I could tell you were a little like hesitant to like tell me things or be like, will you do this? Or like, don't judge me for how much money I spent on these clothes or something. And I was like, we have no option but just to embrace it. Because if there is any like judgment or like tension, it's just not going to work that way.
You have to just like, and honestly, when you shed light on that, like when you're just like, hey, like, I have very expensive taste, and sometimes I order like $5,000 to $10,000 worth of clothes, and I return half of them. Like, I just don't have time to go to shopping at a store, so I order tons of stuff, and then I return most of it. And it's just that's like how I'm just authentic. Like this is who I am. Like you can like me or you cannot like me.
There's just no room for anything else.
There isn't. And it's so funny. We've talked about like Sam loves to like hike and like do outdoorsy stuff, and I'm like, oh, like that is not what I would ever want to do. But then she also can like really appreciate like a nice hotel and like a nice meal and, you know, like a more luxurious experience, which is more what I am. That's more my vibe. And so it's been really cool to truly be ourselves like with each other and just be like, I fully accept who Sam is and like everything that she brings to the business and like her full self. And she also accepts me, and like, we have such an open line of communication. Like feedback is a huge part of the culture. And like Sam will ask me for feedback. She'll be like, hey, like, okay, we're at this mark since I've worked with you. Like, can you give me feedback, positive or negative? Like, what could I be doing better? And so that's been majorly helpful.
One thing I'd add just to the topic of trust, in addition to just like being in your life, it's also like I have all your credit cards, your debit card, like all of your emails. Like I feel like every password that like you don't even know that I know. Like I feel like there's so many things that you just like from the beginning just trusted me. And so I feel like I hold myself to a really high standard because I don't want to break any of that trust because you've just given it all to me. And so I feel like you've just done a really good job of like letting me into it all. And so it's been able to like flow smoothly over the last few months.
I remember like in the first month, like kind of talking to Trevor even about it and being like, yeah, she just like has all my stuff, like all my passwords, everything. And I'm like, she probably knows more things than I know because I don't even know those things. And that's been, I don't know if it's just because I think it's because of all the nervous system work that I've done. I had to trust from the beginning that even if I hired Sam, and even if something happened and it didn't work out, I would be able to trust that I could hold that on the other side. And so that allows me to be fully in from the beginning. So I'm like, you know, like month one, we didn't know each other that well. I'm like, this could go bad. She could be horrible. I don't know. Like, and so I was like, I just have to trust that if something goes wrong, if there is a break in trust, if there is an issue, like I can handle that. And so I think that's what made it so much easier for me to jump into hiring someone. So like, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So people ask me all the time, how did you find Sam? Like, how did you find her? So I think that that question alone literally holds people back from even finding someone, because they're just questioning, sitting in indecision, sitting in confusion of like, where would you even post and how would you even find someone? And I'd have to write a job description. And what do you say about it? So when we went into looking for this person, one of the biggest things that we said was, we want to make someone not want to work for us. Like, I was like, I want to make sure they know fully what this role is going to entail. Like, I was like, I want to make sure that they know that they're going to be doing stuff that maybe feels beneath them. They're going to be doing things that maybe isn't the most glamorous. It's going to be high energy some weeks, high intensity some weeks. We move really fast. I'm probably going to be texting you on the weekends. Like, I'm probably going to be texting you at night. I might send you a text at 6 a.m. I'm not necessarily expecting you to respond at those times, but like, this is just a full immersive life thing. And so I wanted to make sure that this person knew that. And so when we set out the application, we put so many questions on there. We were like trying to get people to like stop answering the application. We were like, maybe people will just like stop answering the questions because they're like, this thing's so long. These questions are so hard. We made people submit a video at the end of the application. And so I think I had a good amount of people apply, but I only interviewed like 3 or 4 people, Sam being the last person that I interviewed. And it was just like an intuition thing. Like, I just intuitively felt like Sam was like the right fit, and she was more on the overqualified side of it. People always ask me, I think they assume this is like a part-time thing or like an hourly, how much you pay her hourly. And Sam is salaried. She is full-time salary position. I didn't want to hire someone where I was like, oh, they can only work this many hours a day, or I'm going to have to pay the overtime, or they're going to be, they're only available this time. I was like, this is like a full-time thing. If I say, hey, we're going to Las Vegas next week and you have to come, like, I wanted them to have that availability to be able to like jump in and do whatever.
And I would never be able to complete everything I do in less than like as a part-time person.
Which that was something that you don't even know, y'all. Like, you don't know when you're hiring for this person, like how many hours it's actually going to take them to do the things they're doing. Like, you don't know. And so when I hired her, I was like, I think you're going to be doing more personal stuff at first. And the idea is to move you more into the business side, which I think now we're probably 50-50, 60-40, something like that. But I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know like how much. And then I remember after a month, you were like, we were sitting on the front porch, I remember, and you were like, I don't know how you were doing this stuff and your job. And I was like,
it's like 2 full-time jobs.
I was like, not well. It was not happening well, Sam. It was not a good situation. Well, I was like, but I'll tell y'all, one of the biggest resistances I had to hiring this position, I was like, this is a full-time salary. I was like, I don't even know if my revenue can, it's like it can, but like, what if my revenue takes a step back? What if my revenue is not as high and doesn't grow at the rate that I hope over the next year? And that is just a risk you have to be willing to take. And you have to make sure that everything that an employee is offloading from you, you are using that freed up time to then go make money. You're using it for creating more content. You're using it for to work on messaging. You're using it for sales calls. You're using it to actually bring dollars into the business. Because if they're freeing up your time and then you're just doing more of the busy work, or you're not actually letting them take things off your plate and you're micromanaging or controlling, well, then it's actually not going to be a hire that's worth it, because you should be, every position that works for you should be tied to some type of revenue. And so that was a big thing for me was, and that makes me have to manage my time. It's like, okay, I have more white space. Like, I need to put sales calls on my calendar. Like, I need to get these people that are in the DMs in conversations with me so that I can show them how my programs can impact their life and ultimately help them make more money. And so that's been a huge thing. But yeah, just going back to, I would say on your days when you're home, you're doing more stuff for Lana. Like,
those are more of the like business side things, and a lot of like the admin tasks, like the bookings and the scheduling, or a lot of things, that Lana offloads onto me. Like, those are the days I feel like I'm like glued to my computer for like long stretches. Whereas whenever I'm here, I'm like bopping around more.
Yeah. You're doing a lot of the AI stuff when you're
a lot of the
on their
AI
time.
stuff whenever I'm at home. Yeah.
and like making sure that she's really trying to get our company like on Slack and like in Slack and like using Notion and like using some of these new software tools that we haven't really been using in the past that we need to be using more. We're getting better. We're inching towards that. And she leads our team meetings every single week. So like she keeps keeps note of what the tasks are and what the items are that we need, topics, I should say, that we need to talk about on the team meeting weekly. And then she's the one who leads that and makes sure like if we're talking about something for too long, she's like, okay, we need to move on. This call's getting long. Like she really helps keep us on task there.
One other thing I'd add to that is on my days at home, whenever I'm working on a project and I feel like I kind of like hit a spot where like I can't keep going until like we meet or like I have questions for her, typically I try to save that and like add it to my list of things to meet with her in person for, because we want to keep as least amount of like video calls off her calendar as possible.
Yeah.
So instead of me being like, hey, quick question, like, can we jump on a call? I'll just like bookmark it, put it on the list for whenever we do meet in person, like the next day or the next week.
Yeah. And honestly, like the days you come here, I feel like that's still a work in progress. And honestly, going into it, I wasn't really sure. I was like, are we going to make it set where it's like Tuesdays and Thursdays every week? But really it changes week to week.
It changes
based on my calendar. And it's like, if I have a day that's like back to back to back, I'm basically never going to see her or talk to her, then that doesn't really make sense for her to be here. But if I have a day where I have like 1 or 2 calls and then I have white space, those are usually good times for her to be here, because when I'm on calls, she can either be on the call. Sometimes she's on the call. Sometimes she's doing her own stuff, running errands during that time. And then we kind of can meet up in the afternoon or meet up in the morning. And so that's kind of been working really well. Yeah. But we really play that by ear every week. Some days I'm like, okay, let's do Monday and Wednesday this week. And that's really dependent on what my schedule looks like. And so it was really important for me for somebody to be flexible, where it's like, yeah, I mean, I can come anyways, any day. And you're not really going to get that if it's not a full-time person. Because if it's a part-time employee who's like picking their hours and maybe they're doing something else, you're not going to get that. Like, I wanted Sam to be fully focused on like my company, my life, what I'm doing. And so that I could really utilize her whenever I needed to, honestly. Yeah. But so how Sam found me, and I want you to talk about this because I think this is really cool. Like, tell the story about your mom and how she told you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah. So my last job, I was like happy in it, but I was kind of ready for a change, but I wasn't like super serious about it. Yeah. And I was with my mom and I was like, what do you think I would be good at? Because I just didn't know what I wanted in a career. Yeah. And she was like, based on your personality, I feel like you'd be a really good personal assistant, like keeping someone on track. She's like, I can see you like walking around with your clipboard, like making sure the schedule runs smoothly.
Yeah. When you told me actually last week that you were like, when you were little growing up with your siblings, you were like the mother hen. You're like, I was making lunches for everyone. I was like keeping everybody organized. And I'm like,
the one who like had all my siblings' water bottles ready for school the next day and like had lunches packed in the fridge. Like I was like running the house. And so I think that maybe I'm just a little bit bossy in nature, but like I'm organized and I keep things on track. And so my mom saw that and she was like, I could see you being like a really good personal assistant. Yeah. And so I looked up on Instagram, I said, personal assistant day in the life or executive assistant day in the life, because I didn't even know what it did, like what they did. So I wanted to see videos and Emily's popped up and that she was hiring and that it was in Houston. And so like I clicked on it, I like stalked your page. I was like, who is this girl? Yeah. I went online and I applied and like I applied, interviewed, and got the job like within a week. Yeah. And honestly, I would say I feel like it was very divinely orchestrated.
Very divinely orchestrated.
It really was God who made this happen.
Yeah, but for sure.
Yeah. Instagram. I came across your video.
And when you applied, I was like, oh my gosh, like she's perfect. I was like, she has like she has a degree. She has a job that she's been at for a few years. Like you were in like recruiting kind of.
Yeah, and I've been promoted a few times. Yeah, so you were like, you're already.
I was like, I don't know if this is really. And you were like, no, like trust me. Like I think that this would be like I just want to meet. You were you were really pushing for us to meet in person. Yeah. Because I was like, I don't want you to drive all the way over here. Because Sam lives more like in Houston and I'm in the suburbs. And I was like, I don't want you to drive all the way over here if like this isn't really going to be a good fit. And you were like, I'd love to just come meet you this week. And I was like, okay. And so at that point I had interviewed like 2 or 3 people. I was entertaining them. Neither of them felt like really, it's almost like when you're interviewing someone, it's like you don't know if it feels right. And this was kind of my first experience because Lana came to me very organically. I wasn't like interviewing for that position, and same thing with Emily. She came to me very organically. So I wasn't like, I never like interviewed, like put out an application, interviewed anyone for like a position. And so I didn't really know what that process was going to look like. And so the first couple people I interviewed, I was like, I mean, I guess they could be like, okay, like I guess it could be. But one of the biggest things was like, they're going to be in person in my space. And I have to make sure personality wise, this feels like it's going to fit well, because if I'm like annoyed by this person or I don't really like being around them, then that's going to cause issues.
Yeah.
And so then when I met Sam, I mean, it was immediate. It was my longest interview. I think we talked for like an hour and a half. I just felt like really, I left and texted the team and I was like, okay, I was like, this Samantha Glasgow. I was like, she's like really, I was like, I feel really excited about her. And so, yeah, y'all, she searched. So it was actually SEO, like, because my creative director, Emily, we had made a post saying we were hiring. We had put, like in the caption, like executive assistant, personal assistant, Houston. We were like, it has to be somebody in Houston. I did not want anyone that was not local, because obviously there's going to be an in-person aspect. I think we even might have put like more of the area I live. Like I'm not like centrally in Houston. And it was like, must be willing to like be in this area like 2 to 3 days a week. And Sam just found me. So I like we said, like very divinely orchestrated, and yeah, hired her. She started like a month or two later.
Yeah.
And I think one of the coolest things that we did was when she started, it was like our busy season. So like the fall and the spring are we usually have like a 2 to 3 month period of time that's really busy. She literally started during a challenge week. And then the next week we went on a retreat. So she got kind of a full arc of, this is what we do, this is who we serve, this is what a challenge looks like. And that was really good for you to just start like,
and you just threw me in. Like my first day, I showed up, we pulled up to her house at the same time. She just got back from a workout and she's like, hi, nice to meet you. Well, I guess we already met. She's like, hi, good to see you. Here's your laptop. I'm going to go change and hop on this call. Like, figure it out. You got it. You can text Landa if you have any questions. And like, so I just was thrown straight into it. Like full, like I think like your mental to-do list of the last few months that you had been carrying, you gave all to me on the first day. And so I was like trying to sort through it, figure it out, like just thrown right into it, which any other way wouldn't have worked. Like that's what I needed it to be, because it just like set the tone of like, we're going to work hard. We're going to like get things done around here.
It was like immerse yourself in my life.
And then it was
wild.
Yeah, it was wild. So challenge week and then retreat week. Like I feel like the first like 3 weeks I like saw it all that you offer with the company. So it was great.
Yeah. And like my kids would get off the bus at 3:00 and Sam would be here, and like they would get to meet her, and now they'll like, hey mom, can you ask Sam to order me blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna get a house phone that the kids can text Sam on when they need something. Like if Henry needs to order like something on Amazon for school, like he can just like go directly to the source, because I think it's so important to show my kids that I receive support and that I don't do everything, and that I don't do it all. And like, I communicate with them about that. I'm like, mommy doesn't do everything. Mommy is a very busy job. I want to be able to be present with y'all. I want to be able to sit and watch a movie with y'all. And in order for me to do that, I have to have other people helping me and supporting me. And one of the biggest things, like I want to tell the Amy story from, we were at this podcasting moms conference and Sam was with me, and I was the sponsor for the event, and I did a little speaking thing, and one of the attendees who I had met at a previous event was like, I want to hear more about, and that's kind of what inspired this episode. She's like, I want to hear more about what Sam does for you every day. She was like, I don't know, like, I just feel like one time you posted that she was like hanging your clothes up. And what she was referring to is on these content days that we do, like batch content, I'm changing clothes a lot. And so I'll just like throw my clothes on the floor, like in between every outfit change. And so like Sam will come behind me and like hang clothes back up, or like whatever, like she's just kind of straightening things up. And she was like, that would be so hard for me to ask someone to do that for me, because it feels like, I guess like grunt work, or like just
it's like, why glamorous.
Why can't you just hang your own clothes up? And it's like, I can hang my own clothes up, but we're also trying to get as much done possible in this really short span of time. And, I only have Emily here for so many hours to do content, and the faster I can get through stuff, the better. And so having Sam kind of come behind me, even just like refilling my water in between episodes and being like, hey, here's your water. Like, cause I need to clear my throat, or I'm talking so much or whatever. It's those little things. And that was kind of an aha moment for me of like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is really hard for people to like receive support because it makes them feel like they are incapable. But I'm not incapable. I'm very capable. It is better for me to spend time doing other things. And I was very upfront with Sam in the interview that like, these are the things that I need to be doing to make money. These are the things that I need to be doing in life to make sure my values are fulfilled and my desires and my goals are fulfilled personally and professionally. And in order for me to do those things, I can't do all these things. And so I need somebody else to do all these things so that I can ultimately make the company more money. And what that's going to do is it's going to be able to pay the employees, give bonuses, hire more people, expand, impact y'all's lives more. But in order for me to do that, I need help with all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I think if you can be like so upfront with someone when you're hiring them, like it's so important. Like I was not trying to sugarcoat anything.
Yeah, no, you were just like, you laid it all out. You were like, I knew going into the job that like there'll be times that like I'm working and you're getting a massage or reading your book on the couch or going on a walk or something. And I knew like you just laid it out that like that's what you need in order to also be able to like work hard, do what you need to do and like make money for all of us.
Yeah. And you were like, I think it made sense in your brain that I just said that from the beginning. I wasn't trying to like dim anything or like sugarcoat anything. And I was just like, this is what it is. The other thing I had you do was my friend Ashley Brock has an executive assistant and they had done a podcast interview about their dynamic. And I was like, before I hired you, I was like, I want you to listen to that.
Yeah.
And one of the things Ashley said in that episode that really stuck with me was like, I can't be afraid to give you something like because I'm like scared you have too much on your plate. And that's one thing Ashley said. She was like, I have so much on my plate and her EA Rose has so much on her plate. And she's like, but even knowing Rose has so much on her plate, I still can't be afraid to give her something because I'm scared I'm going to overload her.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that to you after that episode of like, I want to make sure that, you know, like you might have a ton of stuff where you're like, how am I going to even get all this stuff done? And I still need to be able to give things to you, not worrying that you're overloaded. Now, there will be communication where you can say like, hey, like this is, you know, this was too much, or like
later.
Yeah, like these are all the things I'm doing. Like, what are the priorities? And that has to be that open line of communication. But that was something that was really big because sometimes it can feel like vulnerable to like ask someone to do things for you that feel kind of like, hey, can you heat my lunch up? Like, because I need to eat for 5 minutes, or hey, can you reheat my bone broth or something when I'm on a call? Just because, you know, it can feel like I'm like, what's the word? Like you're like a servant or something. And that's like not what it is. But it's just, these are the things I need to do to be able to do my job the best. But with that, and with working for a company like mine, there's a lot of flexibility. Like your paid time off is super flexible. Like you're going to be able to go on like, you know, a 10-day vacation and like take a good chunk of it completely off, but then kind of just work remotely for some of it. And I'm super understanding about that, especially whenever it's like in slower times of, you know, business and stuff, when we're not like running, you know, a ton of sales events and stuff like that. And then, you know, it's like, yes, it's like a lot of work, but also most of us don't work 40 hours a week, like every single week. Like some weeks it's like there's a little bit more leeway, especially if we're not, you know, doing a challenge where there's more actual intensive work going on. And there have been times where you've started having a little bit more bandwidth where it was like, okay, we've gotten a lot of the things off my plate that I initially hired you for, because we were talking about, I had this mental to-do list from like years. I'd be like, this has been on my to-do list for 2 years.
Yeah, you said that so many times when I first started in the first month. You were like, you have no idea how long this has just been living in my brain.
Rent-free, like I've been trying to get this done. It's been on my to-do list for 2 years. I haven't been able to do it. And then once we got through that list in the first like 2 months, I feel like month 3 was like, okay, now all that's done. Like, now, what are we shifting into? And that's when we signed up for the AI course. And I was like, okay, you're going to own this. And then you're going to kind of teach our team and communicate to our team like how we're going to use this, and because we ultimately want all of us to be using AI like as much as we can. And so that was really cool, and it's been really cool to see you own that and teach me. And I even told Sam when she did like the initial thing, like info calls to see if we even wanted to invest in it, I was like, you have to sell me on like why we should do this. Like, how is it going to make us money? How am I going to make my money back? How is this going to benefit like all the different, you know, employees that are on our team? Like, how how is that going to be helpful? And she like sat down and she had like a whole thing and she's like, these are the ways that, you know, this is going to help benefit each person. And like, this is how I think it's going to help us. And this is how it's going to help make things faster and like collapse time. And we really have seen the benefits of that already so much, which has been amazing. But so hiring people is, I always bring this back to the nervous system, because hiring people, being able to receive support, being able to let go is absolutely tied to your nervous system, because your nervous system will feel like it's being threatened and like it is dangerous to receive support from someone, because that means you can't do it all. Or there could be, you know, a place in the future where it's like, oh, what if I like can't afford to keep them 6 months from now or a year from now? Or, you know, what if they aren't the right fit? People are always worried it's going to not be the right fit. So then they don't hire anyone. They don't put the application out there. And I think that something that I do really well that maybe is really hard for people is, a lot of people always are thinking about like what the worst case scenario is going to be. Like, what if she doesn't work out? What if I can't afford to keep her? What if I don't trust her? Or what if the personalities don't vibe? Or what if the team doesn't like her? Or whatever it is. And I am really good at like, what if this is like the best thing I ever did? Like, what if it works out perfectly? And I think because I live in that frame of mind of like expecting the best case scenario, and I give best case scenario and worst case scenario equal airtime. I would even say I give best case scenario more airtime. That is how I behave, because I look that you behave and act through which the lens you see the world. And because I see the world and I see my decisions and choices as like, this is going to work out. Like, the world is rigged in my favor. Like, this is just going to work. Because I see that way, I act in that way as well. And I think that's allowed me to trust Sam so much more than like most people would be able to trust just like a brand new person like coming in, and just trusting myself that, like I said earlier, if it didn't work out, I would be able to handle that too. Like, and I would be able to handle that on the other side of whatever that looked like, having to fire someone, having to hire someone new, like, you know, or if she left like of her own, you know, willingness to leave. And so that, you just have to be able to build that regulation in yourself to be able to trust yourself, to be able to trust other people, to be able to release control. And releasing control happens when you increase your capacity. And so I always talk about that, like in my challenge, how like there's a capacity and control, and they're on opposite ends of the line. And the higher your capacity goes, the lower your need to control goes. And of course, there's been things that Sam has done where it's like, okay, well, that's not exactly how I would have done it. Or, hey, no, I didn't want it done that way. Can you call them back, or can you redo it this way? And it's just communicated, and she's learning as she's going and applying that to the future. But I think one thing that Sam did was really cool is she put her to-do list from the last like 4 months in Claude, in AI, and it kind of categorized everything. So Sam was like, it would be cool maybe for her to read, like, just like briefly, like touch on each category of like, what are some of the things I'm kind of scared. I'm like, what is she going to say that are on her to-do list, just to kind of give y'all a better idea of like her day-to-day support. And also just like her willingness to be like, yeah, I'll jump from that to this, or, oh yeah, I can add that. Or, you know, okay, maybe I am going to do this for the next month. And this isn't exactly the thing that that's not my most favorite thing to do, but like this is ultimately what's going to help support Emily the most. And that's been super good too.
Yeah, totally. So just a few categories. One, travel planning and logistics. So like booking flights, booking hotels, making itineraries. That's been a big thing that I think you've liked.
Yeah.
Car rentals, all those sorts of things. Even like planning snacks for whenever we're all together, things like that for traveling. I'm helping Lana a lot with a lot of the like retreat planning, and from, again, more of the admin side, like booking things, talking to vendors, just getting things booked and like coordinated. A lot of scheduling and calendar management. So like managing your hair appointments and your nail appointments and your kids' haircut appointments or kids' doctor's appointments, or
like those are the things people don't think about that add to your cognitive load. Like, have you ever been like, oh my God, the kids need haircuts so bad, and you just like can't make yourself like make the appointment, and so you wait weeks and weeks and weeks, and their hair's so long and overgrown, and you're like, God, they need hair appointments, and finally you do it, and it's like not at the right time you want. It's not with the person that you like that cuts their hair, and that just like removal of that cognitive load. And now Sam knows like who I like to cut their hair. She also knows my calendar so well that she didn't really have to ask me what time to do it. She knows, like, oh, she doesn't have any calls. She likes to do stuff in the afternoons.
Yeah.
Her kids are home at this time. There's no activities for the kids.
Yeah.
So she can just schedule it without me having to look at my calendar and be like, okay, we could do it this day or we could do it this day. She just schedules it and then tells me when it is.
Yeah. Or like even things like your Amelia's dance recital tickets open up on this day and they go really fast. So you have to log on at 10 o'clock and
she
make
got
sure.
us like 5th row seats. And I was like, yes, so good.
Yeah.
Like all the other parents were like, man, our seats are so bad. And I was like, Sam was on at 11, ready to get those tickets. And I had like forgotten about it.
Yeah.
And a week after you got the tickets, I mentioned something to Trevor and he goes, oh yeah, Sam already got those. And I was like, oh my gosh. That's so not like that's so helpful that like I didn't miss out on that, or like ordering Amelia's dance recital photos because
or flowers
for her. Like it's all those little things that you need to do on a weekly basis, especially in really busy seasons of life like May, that just feel like how am I supposed to do all of those things and
remember it all? Yeah, no, totally. Okay, the next category is errands. A lot of errands. Like donating old clothes when we go through her closet, doing returns for things that she buys, a lot of birthday stuff. So like cousin or niece is having a birthday, I'm going to go like get a card and like get some cash and send it. Like things like that.
Yeah,
mail
like
birthday
balloons
gifts.
for my kids, ordering their cake. So like on their birthday, they had happy birthday donuts and they had a cake and they had the balloons that were like tennis ones for Henry and like baseball ones for Cam, and just like those things that you're like, man, I really want to be that type of mom that like celebrates my kids in that way, but I just have never really been that type of mom. I don't have that kind of bandwidth. So that's been really helpful. Picking up dry cleaning, picking up alterations, monogramming.
Yeah. Just like the little random errands around town that like takes up time, but it's like small things. Okay, events and celebrations. So like Easter hosting or Christmas hosting or like different events going on, like helping you get your house ready for them. Easter baskets. Like all of like the little things like that. Planning
we're very,
birthday
like,
parties.
collaborative on a lot of that stuff, but I think the more Sam learns me, the more she's like knows what I would like and what I wouldn't like.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is tech systems and accounts. So this is just a lot of like new tools that we've implemented in the business. So like setting up a big password manager portal for all of our passwords for the business and personal ones to go into. All
the AI stuff.
All the
apps that go along with AI
all the
Whisper
apps
Flow,
that
all that stuff.
And then like helping get you like you're like logged into some accounts on your phone but like not your laptop, and like just making sure you're like into everything and it's all like set up and ready to go.
Even like whenever I need to download a certain new app on my phone or something, or Sam needs to put something on my phone, like that task of like doing that for whatever it is, my brain puts like a stop sign and they're like, don't do that. That takes too much of your brain power to like do that and get logged in a new app and learn a new system. And so she will go into my phone and like add the app and make sure I'm logged in and like show me how to use it. And that's super helpful.
And like making sure everyone on the team like has the access code to like get into like our team of that.
Setting up Slack, setting up Notion, all of that.
I think that is all from this list. I mean, there's plenty of other things, but those are like big overarching categories that kind of show it.
And you're just kind of structuring that, like we kind of talked about earlier, like when she's home working remotely, she's doing a lot of the computer stuff, more of the business stuff when she's here. We have like a meeting, but usually both days she's here in person, we meet, go through her list of anything she needs or was waiting on for me. Sometimes she's just like, hey, I need to log you in on your computer to this thing and show you this thing.
Or like, let me just have your phone for like 10 minutes. Let me do some things real quick.
And I'm like, okay. And like even one thing that we're like about to start working on is like her helping me like with my photo album on my phone, because like 50,000 pictures and I need to free up memory. I need to have that to be organized. I want to create some like albums and stuff. And so her organizing to where like we're going to have an album we've been talking about like for content, so that Emily, my creative director, can go back and look for old photos and videos from years ago, and she has like this bank to pull from, and those are organized where it's not like, hey, can you send me a video from 3 years ago during this time? And so she'll be able to go in and look at that. So that's one thing that we're about to start working on. It's just all these things that you're like, man, I would do that if I had more time, outsourcing it. And it has been worth every single penny. And I know that like we've had a lot of growth, like even since Sam started in the last 4 months. And I really do feel like it's because it's freed up not only physical time for me, but also brain space, so that I have more brain space to think more creatively, to think more strategically, to have more rest, to be able to go on those 25-minute silent walks instead of going to pick up alterations and drop off dry cleaning. Like those are the kind of things that have been just immensely valuable. You know, I want to be clear that I'm not telling you like, go hire someone tomorrow. Like you need to hire someone now. But these are just all things to think about as you are considering getting support, hiring support. And if your finances maybe don't quite support it, I mean, one of the big things is like, I know my numbers like backwards and forwards at any given point. I know what my cash flow looks like. I know what is coming out of our business account on certain days of the month based on payroll and based on when credit card bills are due. And so I really had a good handle on like, what are my operating expenses? Can I afford this person? I met with my finance team and I was like, what does this look like if I add this charge I got from my CPA? And I was like, if I pay her this, how much is that going to be each month? If I pay her this, how much is that going to be based on salary and benefits or whatever? And so I looked at all of that and I put it at the bottom line. I was like, okay, I need to make this much revenue on average on a monthly basis to handle this new cost that I'm incurring. And, you know, was there a risk? Yeah, sure. Like if there's a risk in hiring any new person, but I felt confident that I could be disciplined enough in the time that she was freeing up for me that I could use that time to then go make more money. And I've been able to do more of the sales revenue producing activities because of bringing you on. So hopefully we answered all your questions. I know that this was like a long awaited episode. We wanted to wait until she had been working with the company for a few months before we talked about all of this, but I would love to hear y'all's questions. If you have any, after you listen to this episode, watch this video, DM me, send me questions on Instagram. And yeah, thanks Sam so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
See y'all next time.